where software quality lives, breathes, and keeps evolving.
Welcome back to the Quality Beat. Quality in small teams, usually a coffee-fueled chat, but scale that up to a big program and suddenly quality is less a conversation, more a high-stakes juggling act with multiple teams, tools, dependencies, stakeholders, and oh yes, relentless release pressure. Today on the Quality Beat, we're diving into the wild world of test management and quality management in big organizations and programs, where the stakes are big, things break faster, and the solutions, well, they might surprise you. Joining us today is Fabien and Silvio. So welcome to the show, both.
Thank you very much, Gurpreet.
Thanks, Gurpreet. Great to be here.
Silvio, Fabien, it's great to have you both aboard this quality roller coaster. And before we start, quick intros so the listeners know who they're trusting today. So if you could just spend 30 seconds just on your role, biggest scale in terms of numbers, whether that's teams or systems, and one fun fact about yourself. So Silvio, take it away, please.
Hi, I'm Silvio. I'm a test manager and test automation architect with a background in aerospace engineering and quality management. And these days I'm working on a huge program. We have been at it for over a year now, integrating hundreds of products into a single end-to-end sales platform and rolling it out to more than 20 countries. And at Nagarro, we support 10 core applications with test management and test automation, building a governance across products and helping teams to scale quality. Yeah, one fun
Great
fact,
stuff.
I originally planned to become a software developer, but I discovered my passion for quality engineering. And yeah, so I'm really happy we get to dive into this topic today.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for that. And Fabien, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. I am an old chap who has been working in industry and IT for more than 25 years. And to quote a passage from the famous movie Blade Runner, I have seen things you people wouldn't believe. So I am currently IT quality consultant, but don't tell my younger me, because like Silvio, I wanted to continue to work as a software developer, but rapidly I was interested in quality because nothing was working. So the only way to improve the quality on a broader level was to move slowly to test management, project management, and finally quality management.
Lovely. Thanks for that. And now level set for us, right? So what do you exactly mean when you say big organization or program? So in other words, what I'm asking is how big is big? Silvio, take it away.
Yes. So for me, big starts where coordination becomes the hard part. It's not the testing itself. So that means you can have a lot of people, but real scale shows up when you have many teams and products, heavy integration, and a web of dependencies. At that point, there's usually no single person who understands the entire system end to end. And teams naturally think within their boundaries of their own application. And of course, silos happen. And that's the moment when it works on my machine becomes meaningless, because what matters is, does it work together seamlessly from end to end? And in big programs, you have to ensure quality at the system level. And my current project is a good example. We are talking about roughly 500 applications overall, around 80 core applications, and most of those have multiple feature teams. So dependencies can feel almost infinite, plus you have multiple layers of hierarchy. And in my experience, that's the tipping point. So quality needs structure and quality has to be managed, because if you don't, you will burn a lot of money very quickly.
Certainly, it definitely sounds very complicated. And a follow-up on that then, Fabien, when you hear big program, what flags go up in your minds? So is it are you simply looking at headcount, the number of moving parts, or is there something else here?
So headcount is one parameter. Then there is the organization chart, the locations, the languages, the cultures, the kind of product, the processes in place, the customers, the laws, regulations, and so on. So everything contributes to the complexity of a big program. As Silvio already mentioned, the program when we are currently working integrates more than 500 products together, employs more than 2,000 colleagues, and there are teams in 24 European countries, as well as internationally like India or South Africa. So here we are really talking about headcount and the number of moving parts.
Interesting. And just to dive a bit deeper into that, right? So how is quality work different compared to smaller projects then?
So smaller projects can be managed by a few people. You do not need many processes to develop and release your product. So communication is also simpler, less bureaucratic. You normally don't have 10 layers of hierarchy as we have in our program currently. Decision can be taken faster. So I remember years ago I was leading a small project with a team consisting of 10 colleagues that we could release after 6 months without any production bugs. So that was great. No friction, no burnout, pure fun.
I see. So a very different picture indeed. Okay, Silvio, tell me, what's the first thing that breaks when quality starts slipping at scale?
That's a good question. So the first thing that breaks at scale is the defect process, and with it, trust. As soon as quality starts slipping, the defect triage stops being a technical conversation and turns political. So what I have experienced is that you have get finger pointing instead of problem solving. And a pattern is also that critical defects getting thrown over the fence late in the day, no handover, no analysis, just get it off of my desk. And the downstream effect is brutal. So fundamental problems surface very late in end-to-end testing, in UAT, or worst case in production. And once you are there, the root cause stops being interesting. You're not managing defects anymore, you're managing incidents. And the whole organization slides into this reactive firefighting mode, and nobody asks the why anymore, only how fast can we patch it. And the result is that the effect is that people get demotivated. Meetings become noise, escalations replace engineering, and release readiness in the end shifts from evidence to negotiation.
Right. Okay. If you had to name the top 3 challenges in test or quality management at scale, what would they be? Fabien, I'll let you start with this.
Yeah, so from my experience, I make it short, really short. I think Silvio can develop on that. Working in an environment where internal politics plays a major role. That's a main issue. The product complexity, of course. I have seen also something, the cost centers. I think there are a major obstacle to improving quality. And last but not least, thinking that quality is only about testing. That's a major issue.
Right.
Yeah, fully agree, Fabien. Maybe I can dive a little bit deeper into it. If I had to add my top 3 challenges here, I would put it like this, that the biggest challenge is the change management, because the hard part isn't the tooling or the technical implementation, it's getting the right people to do the right things and to change how they work. And to be honest, nobody loves changing habits. And we all know big organizations, they move very slowly, and the real mindset change, sometimes even a culture shift, takes persistence. And it works best when you create a path where teams and management can save face, because once quality turns political, progress slows down very fast. Yeah? And that's the biggest one for me. Yeah. The second challenge is to building up the trusted feedback loop. So what you need in such a big programs is stable test environments. You need reliable test data, and also a regression suite, yeah, and regression results people really can trust. Otherwise, at the end, the release ready becomes a feeling or a negotiation. And at scale, quality has to be evidence and not hope. Yeah. And the last one is that you need standards, standardization without bureaucracy. So there's a need for shared ways of working. You need definitions of done, quality gates, reusable automation patterns, because not everyone has to reinvent the wheel. But the big, trap here is if standards turns into a process monster, you kill the speed. Yeah. And the real challenge is to standardize just enough to make quality consistent and scalable, yeah, without slowing down the delivery. So that's, I think, the three main challenges from my perspective. Yeah.
I see. Slight follow on from that then. So from those three that you've mentioned, which ones are more about people and the organization, and which are about actual technical beasts that you have to wrangle?
Good question. Yeah. First one, definitely organizational. Yeah. So change management is on the organizational side, and in long running programs, the behaviors get baked in. Yeah. Teams get used to being reactive. You fix what's burning, you handle escalations, and you move on. And shifting that to a more proactive quality mindset isn't about telling people to care more. It's about changing incentives, routines, and what gets rewarded. And the bigger the organization, the slower the change moves, because every new habit has to survive layers of alignments and sometimes also politics, as we said already. Yeah? And the building up these feedback loops, this is more on the technical side. Yeah? And honestly, this is my biggest challenge right now. So in my current program, yeah, in my current project, the real challenge is that you stabilize test environments. Yeah. So the integration environments are quite unstable. Yeah. And in the end, yeah, you could not trust test results anymore. Yeah. Because you're not sure, is it the code, is it the data, the environment, or the pipeline? Yeah. And to solve this is a quite technical challenge. Yeah. And my last one, standardization, I think this is a kind of hybrid one, because you need shared patterns, quality gates, reusable automation. But if governance turns into bureaucracy, teams root around it. So if it's too light, you have chaos, and too heavy, you have a kind of meeting overload. Yeah. And the trick is just enough structure so quality scales without delivering stalling. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a key thing you mentioned there is the larger the organization, the more complexity. So here's somewhat of a controversial question for you then. Do you think big organizations sometimes create complexity just to justify their own existence? Curious, Fabien, could you speak on that?
Yeah, just closing. This is a good one. Yes, I don't think it is on purpose. So big organizations tend to have more processes and rules because they want to keep control of the quality. So there are a lot of moving parts that must fit together. So to give you an example, in one of my previous company, there was this free version of the Windows tool Earfine View that was used by some colleagues to create screenshots for customer documentation. Now, this tool is free only for non-commercial use. So the damage caused was between 1 and 2 million euros. After that, the organization introduced new processes, regular awareness workshops, mandatory software list, intellectual property, and license manager to avoid such issue. So when you are new to big organizations, all these processes and rules can feel like a corset that limit your freedom or creativity. But in fact, their aim is to mitigate risk that could put you and the company at risk. On the other hand, there is this tendency to accumulate a lot of rules and process which after some years do not make any sense or decrease the productivity even. This is why regular retrospectives, lessons learned, in fact, continuous improvement is so important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then obviously within organizations, it's quite large and complex as it is. So how do you actually define quality goals? Is it a dedicated team that handles that, or is this a collective shared responsibility?
So from my perspective, it has to be both, Gurpreet. So quality is a whole team responsibility. So everyone contributes from product to engineering to test, but at scale and in big organizations, you also need a second structural element. If I said first, on the product level, you need someone inside each teams who drives the day-to-day, a quality engineer, who brings the craft, creates awareness to build the quality in early, and makes sure testing and risk mitigation are done professionally. Otherwise, quality becomes everybody's job in theory and nobody's job in practice. And the second layer, what you need is the strong test governance across the teams, clear standards, align quality goals and gates, shared ways of working, and transparency people actually trust. Without that governance, every team does it differently. Reuse collabs and quality turns into negotiation.
Right.
And the reason governance matters end to end, is at the end of the day, the customer doesn't care that each component passes its local test. They care that the whole platform works end to end across the products and systems and interfaces. And that's where it gets complex because failure usually lives in the seams. So you have data inconsistencies, timing issues, unstable integration environments, contracts drifting, dependencies behaving differently, and so on. So defining quality goals becomes a hierarchy. Product defines outcomes, engineering and quality define the evidences and gates, and governance makes it consistent across the teams. So we don't optimize locally and fail globally.
Right. And what's one or two quality metrics you really trust? So perhaps there's one which is overhyped or one which is misleading. Fabien, could you go into that?
Yeah, in fact, there are many metrics. One that we like is a number of defects in production. So there is a matrix called defect removal efficiency, or DRE, that tells you how effectively defects are identified and removed before releasing the product into the production. And by defect, I mean all kinds of defects in requirement, design, code, test, and so on. So this is a quite good one. Customer satisfaction, so I mean internal or external customer. This is a key indicator that everyone must use. And overhype, I would say code coverage, automation coverage, or comparing the velocity of different teams.
Okay. Great. And then let's untangle a classic confusion then, right? So you've got test management, you've got quality management. How do you draw the line between the two?
I make it very simple. So test management is about test. It's a test strategy, test planning, executing, defect reporting. There are generally a test manager and a test team. Quality management, this is an enterprise-wide activity and mindset. So quality management looks at quality from all perspectives, the finance, human resource, contract management, development process, documentation, reviews, laws and regulation, and so on.
So yeah, I also totally agree with Fabien. I think that's a great way to frame it. I personally put it like this, that quality management is the umbrella and test management is one of those tools under it. And quality management is where the organization agrees on what quality means, how much risk it's willing to take, what standards apply, and how we continuously improve and to end across value stream. Yeah. And when we talk about how you achieve quality, I like to split it into two buckets. On the one hand, you have the constructive measures that build quality in early, things like clear requirements, good design, coding standards, yeah, automation in the pipeline. And on the other hand, you have the analytical measures that gives you feedback. And analytical is either static, reviews, inspection, analysis, or dynamic. And this is where testing lives. Yeah. So test management is basically the management layer around the dynamic verification works. It's planning, estimating, monitoring, and control of all the testing activities. But the key, and that's most important, is that test management only works if it's embedded in a functioning quality and risk management setup. Otherwise, you're just running tests and hoping they somehow steer quality. Yeah? So you have to see the big picture. Yeah, see it from a holistic point of view.
So you need the structure in place.
Yes.
And that leads perfectly on to my next question, actually. Do you still roll up your sleeves and run the tests yourselves, or are those days behind you?
So I think this is a precondition. I do not know any orchestra conductor who does not master an instrument, at least. Do you? So testing, reading technical documentation, writing down a test strategy personally help me understand the problems better and helps the team find solutions. But caveat, do not micromanage. That would be very harmful.
Yeah,
so a
true.
side effect is trust. So the team knows then you are here to help and not because of your position.
Yeah. So also for me, absolutely, yeah, I'm a big believer that you can't lead quality from a slide deck, yeah. So I still get hands-on. I do exploratory testing. I also do defect analysis, and it keeps me close to the real risk and also the constraints, and it helps me to establish and improve the test governance we build up. And honestly, I still enjoy the craft, especially automation. I love test automation with Playwright, so I'm a big Playwright fan. And yeah, to sum it up, I would say, yeah. So no, those days are not behind me, and I'm really glad that's not the case.
Yeah, I think it's important that you understand it from start to end as well. And like you said, it helps you to be closer to the actual issues. So great. Okay. And now let's break this up with a quick word wrap, right? So I just want one response. Don't overthink it. I will name something and I just want your response. So are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. First one then, release readiness.
Confidence.
Yes. Confidence.
Okay. Quality gates.
Guardrail.
Go, no go.
Test reporting.
Transparency.
Trust.
Flaky tests.
Reliability.
Thinking of reviews.
Automation coverage.
That's the safety net.
Yes.
Risk-based testing.
Prio or priority.
This is fundamental.
Finally, AI in QA.
Assist.
Assist.
Okay, great. And now let's go into which one of these causes the most pain in big programs.
Silvio?
So, Fabien, maybe I can start. For me, it's the release readiness. In big programs, this is where all the weaknesses show up. So if you have unstable environments, weak test data, flaky regressions, unclear ownership, when those fundamentals aren't solid, release readiness turns into a negotiation instead of an evidence-based decision.
I agree with that. I was just thinking that there is one reporting. Reporting this is often an issue because everyone needs different kind of reports every day. So it can be quite time consuming.
I can imagine. And Fabien, a specific question here. AI is everywhere, right? But practically, has AI changed quality management for you?
A good question. So if by AI you mean LLM, large language model, we haven't seen much progress. So Copilot is used for generating automatic tests when it works. Otherwise, most of the colleagues use it as search engine or for text generation or processing. So one must keep in mind that most of the information that you need to solve a given problem in a complex organization and software system is often not up to date, not reviewed, or even not written down. So you have yet to discuss with many different specialists who can also have different opinions and then come to an agreement. So an LLM by construction will always create an answer based on the corpus of text it has digest during the training phase and the context window. So it will never ask back and never learn what it should learn in your specific project. On top of that, it is not even deterministic. So thus, for simple tasks, it can be very impressive. But after reaching a level of complexity, it can be challenging to get constant quality output without spending too much time babysitting the system. So in that, I am aligned with a famous Yann Lequin. He's so-called godfather of AI. In the sense, I do not think we can achieve much more with the current technology. We need a new theoretical framework. Or perhaps it is better we don't have, but that's another debate.
Okay. And very quickly from each of you then, what's one AI use case you think is genuinely valuable already? Silvio, take it away.
So yeah, test design. Yeah, if the requirements are clear, I can quickly suggest solid test cases and edge scenarios. Yeah, and also improving the requirements is one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if you have a good, up-to-date and detailed documentation and information input, I think it can help in designing tests, creating reports, or analyzing some problem, for instance. Yeah.
Great. And what's a trap or hype area people should be careful with?
You know, the history of IT is full of false promises and hype cycle. I give you some random examples. In the 1950s, automatic language translation was 10 years away. Then there was this idea that creating a machine that beats human at chess would lead to general artificial intelligence. Then we have a new wave, so system experts and the fifth computer generation program initiated in Japan during the 80s, then object-oriented, visual programming, agile, blockchain, and so on. But after a while and few economic crises, technology tends to normalize. So my advice is to take things with a grain of salt and do not jump right away on the bandwagon without analyzing carefully the potential risk that could damage your business in short or longer term. Always think about your return of invest or ROI.
Very wise words. Silvio, anything to add there?
I can fully agree to that. Yeah, so keep the risk and constraints in mind. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of technologies out there, but figure out what's your problem. Yeah, you want to where you need a solution for. Yeah, and then you can try to figure out, okay, what could be a possible technical solution to it. Yeah, and I think keep the risks in mind.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And last question for you both then. Advice for someone stepping into quality leadership in a large organization. What would you recommend they focus on first?
I'll make it short, bullet point kind.
Yeah.
I would start by defining clear role and responsibilities in the team. Do some stakeholder analysis because you want to know with whom you will interact in future and who is important and less important, who can influence your work and so on. Have a few helpful metrics in place to help you know where you are and where you are going.
Mm-hmm.
I would focus on the main issue. So using a Pareto principle, 80-20. So don't try to solve everything at once. I would set up a clear quality politic and goals in cooperation with the organization program. Communicate transparently with the different teams and with your management and get feedback. And put a continuous improvement program into place involving different departments, so not only test. Finally, be fair, trustful, care for your team, and shield it from outside.
Okay, great. And then one sentence from you both. So one practice every big program should live up to for their quality game.
So my advice here, build quality in. Yeah. So the point is you can't test quality in at the end. Build it in from day one with clear acceptance criteria, shared ownership, and fast feedback loops. Yeah.
Exactly. So don't fix the problems, but prevent it from happening. It will be cheaper overall.
Okay. Thanks both for sharing your insights. It's been great and very insightful.
Thanks, Gurpreet. Yeah. Great chat. And to everyone listening, yeah, stay curious, stay kind, and have fun. Happy testing.
Thank you very much, Gurpreet, and to all, may the quality be with you.
Thank you. And that wraps up the Quality Beat powered by Nagarro. A huge thanks to Silvio and Fabien for dropping their wisdom and to you, the listeners, for tagging along. Until next time, keep those tests green.